In this lesson, I'm going to talk about effective team leadership. Teams, they're everywhere. In fact, they have become a pervasive part of the business world and are seen as essential to business success. This is why leaders need team leadership skills. Nowadays, it isn't just enough to know how to lead, but to intimately know and apply the mechanics or fundamentals of leading high-performance teams. I'll describe some of these processes shortly. Now, before I jump into the complicated topic of how effective team leadership works, I'm going to focus on a few basics. Let's discuss what a team is. A team is a group, and the manager needs to do basically two things: to build the group and to maintain the group. Throughout history, the evolution of mankind, it happened as part of groups. Conflict existed within the groups and between the groups. This is where leadership came from. People needed to survive these type of conflicts, and so they needed to cooperate. And group cooperation requires a type of organization that's only possible when their leadership is involved. Fast forward to today, the managers do much of the leadership. So we need to understand how management works. Most people, they assume that managers work mostly with one-to-one relationships or with individuals. In fact, managers spend a lot of time involved in groups, and thus having group skills is seen to be of critical importance, and actually, it has become the standard by which managers are now judged. Further, in a typical team, there are now a wide variety of specialists with various skill sets. And these professional skill sets, they're narrow and they're very specific, and they often go far beyond the understanding of a manager on a particular subject. And that makes the subject or the act of leading very difficult. How can one actually direct people that have a more in-depth knowledge than the actual leader? So you have to be very careful with this, and you have to be careful with adopting a directive leadership style. Because being directive, it's not always the best approach under these circumstances of dealing with specialists. So instead of directing action, the leader should guide employees towards coming up with answers. So we've ascertained that a manager works often in groups. Another way to describe a group that is working together to accomplish a goal is basically by referring to them as a team. And the leader will be responsible towards ensuring that the team performs at a high standard. So there are many things to consider, but I'm going to basically, for the sake of simplicity, limit myself to 2 points. First, the team will need a leader that has the right background, or, as is commonly said, the right experience. This leads us to the problem that many organizations create for themselves. I've seen this happen all too often. Often, the executives of an organization promote a technical worker to a leadership position. This is a little bit problematic because the skills in leadership are absolutely different than the skills required of a technical specialist. Leadership involves things such as facilitation, communication, conflict resolution. And a direct opposite of that would be, technical specialists require things such as analysis, implementation, and research. The skills are very different. As a result, oftentimes the newly promoted manager finds their new role so challenging that they begin to worry about the security of their job. It's a very uncomfortable situation to be in when you're trying to do or to speak a language that you've never spoken before and also be a leader at the same time with this foreign language. Second, effective teams are usually of a certain pre-thought out size. If there are insufficient workers, say with a team of less than 5 people, then it can be difficult to complete tasks. If there are too many workers per team, and maybe the task is more simple, say there are 10 people for a simple task, it can get kind of crowded. And then at that point, it gets hard to communicate and hard to organize, and again, hard to complete tasks. The manager must take into consideration how people he or she will be interacting with, how many people will interact among themselves, and what the nature of the communication plan will be when choosing an effective team size. All right, and now I've saved the best for last, and we're going to talk a little bit about effective leadership and teams. So as part of discussing effective leadership, I've discussed an approach to management, manager selection, and team size. But this does not actually describe the mechanics, team process, or behaviors that are actually necessary to ensure the team functions at a high level of performance during a project. Leaders need to be cognizant of their behavior and how that behavior needs to change as the team develops. A leader cannot do the same thing at the beginning of a project as they do at the end of the project. They must actually adapt their behavior throughout the team development process. So let me describe. Throughout a team project, effective managers will need to make certain they display two critical behaviors at different times. They will at times exhibit both authoritative guiding behaviors. They will also exhibit helpful assisting behaviors. Now, the guiding behaviors, they include activities such as preparing a list of things to do, starting a conversation, providing guidance, and talking about the goals. Assisting behaviors are different. They include things such as hearing what the team members have to say, recognizing the team members, and pushing for team member involvement. As the team develops, it should be the goal of the manager to transition or move out of having to guide and to assist and doing all these things on behalf of the team, and then to allow the team to take over. Even with both assistance and guidance from the manager, the team will not function effectively at the beginning. Though they may have experience from past projects with others, and though they may have professional specialist skills, in terms of being able to collaborate with one another on this newly formed team, they will not have sufficient knowledge and skill relating to the new team. As such, their productivity will be impacted and it will be low. Now the team will work together and they'll begin to notice a difference between what they expect will happen and what actually does happen. So they will try hard and things won't get done as quickly as they hope. And they will realize how challenging things really are. And as a result, their morale could drop. In fact, it probably will drop. At this point, the manager must simply work with the team towards overcoming those difficulties. Over time, the team will discover how to work together, but until that becomes natural and fluent, the manager will have to offer the guidance and the assistance to help support the process. Once the team learns to work together, their confidence is going to increase. And once this happens, the manager should encourage more disagreement. It will be possible within this increased confidence level to have the disagreement that's necessary to create true problem solving and true troubleshooting. And as the team solves those problems, the manager will no longer need to guide, but can just rely on offering a little bit of assistance. Now, the goal has been to allow the team to work towards achieving more independence and achieving some self-reliance. The team will communicate more and more, and they will resolve things independently more often and on a more regular basis. A manager should pay attention to this newfound collaboration skills and this newfound ability to work independently. This is a sign of success, and this is the most important function of the leadership process. To help the team build up the skills, the knowledge, the confidence, their purpose, their goals, and their ability and freedom to work as a unit.